Your users don't care which SAP system runs the app. They want one launchpad, one login, and one search bar that finds everything, whether the app lives in S/4HANA, SuccessFactors, Ariba, or a custom business technology platform application. That is the promise of SAP Build Work Zone. It federates content from multiple SAP products into a single entry point with cross-system navigation that feels native. But delivering that experience requires careful configuration of content providers, destinations, trust, and SSO. In this session, you will learn how to wire it all together so your users get the unified digital workplace they expect. SAP Build Work Zone comes in two editions. The Standard gives you a central Fiori launchpad on the business technology platform with spaces, pages, and role-based content from one or more back-end systems. It is the replacement for the on-premise Fiori launchpad for organizations moving to the cloud. The Advanced Edition adds workspaces, knowledge bases, forums, and integration with SAP Jam. It is designed for organizations that want a full digital workplace, not just an app launcher. For this session, we will focus on the Standard Edition's core capability. Everything we cover applies to Advanced as well. It simply adds collaboration features on top. Let us look at the architecture. At the center is your Build Work Zone tenant on the business technology platform. It acts as the single entry point, the shell, the navigation, the search. Connected to it are content providers, each one representing an SAP system that contributes apps, roles, and catalogs. An S/4HANA system is one content provider, SuccessFactors is another, Ariba is a third. Each content provider publishes its content via a runtime destination, an HTTP endpoint that the Work Zone tenant calls to fetch Launchpad content at login time. The content itself, tiles, target mappings, catalogs, stays in the source system. Work Zone does not copy apps, it references them and renders the navigation centrally. Registering a content provider is straightforward. First, create a runtime destination in the business technology platform cockpit. This destination points to the source system's Fiori Launchpad content endpoint, typically /SAP/BC/LREP/content. Second, in the Work Zone admin console, add a new content provider and link it to that destination. Third, assign roles from the content provider to your Work Zone site. When a user logs in, Work Zone queries each registered content provider, collects the content authorized for that user's role, and assembles the Launchpad. The user sees one unified set of spaces and pages. They never know the apps come from different systems. Destinations are the backbone of cross-system integration on the business technology platform. For Build Work Zone, you need two types per content provider: a design time destination for admin content synchronization and a runtime destination for user-facing Launchpad assembly. Key configuration properties include the URL of the source system, the authentication type, typically SAML assertion or OAuth 2.0, and the system alias that maps to the source system's Fiori Launchpad configuration. A common mistake is using basic authentication for runtime destinations. This breaks single sign-on because the user's identity is not propagated. The destination authenticates as a fixed technical user. Runtime destinations to preserve the user's identity through the chain. For cross-system navigation to work seamlessly, the user's identity must flow from the Work Zone tenant through the business technology platform to each back-end system. This requires two things. First, establish trust between your identity provider, typically Microsoft Entra ID or SAP Cloud Identity Services, and the business technology platform subaccount. Second, establish trust between the business technology platform subaccount and each back-end system. For S/4HANA, this means configuring SAML Trust in transaction SAML2, or using the cloud connector with principal propagation. For SuccessFactors and Ariba, Trust is configured in the Business Technology Platform cockpit using OAuth 2.0 with SAML bearer assertion. The end result, the user logs in once and their identity propagates to every connected system without re-authentication. The pattern means all users access one URL, your work zone tenant. From there, clicking any tile navigates to the correct backend system transparently. For S/4HANA apps, the navigation uses an embedded iframe or full-page redirect through the cloud connector. For SuccessFactors in Ariba, it opens the target application with an OAuth token exchange. For Business Technology Platform apps, it routes directly since they share the same platform. The key design decision is whether to use embedded. Embedded navigation keeps the work zone shell visible, maintaining context. Full-page navigation hands off to the target system entirely. Embedded works well for Fiori apps. Full page is better for complex applications like Ariba sourcing that have their own navigation structure. Let me highlight 3 pitfalls that catch most teams. First, if the email address in your identity provider does not match the user record in S/4HANA or SuccessFactors, principal propagation silently fails. The user sees an authorization error with no helpful context. Validate user attribute mapping before go live. Second, WorkZone caches content provider data for performance. If you add a new app or role in S/4HANA, it may not appear in WorkZone for up to 30 minutes. Force a content refresh in the admin console during testing. Third, missing cloud connector routes. If your S/4HANA system is on-premise, every OData and content URL must be exposed through the Cloud Connector's access control list. Here is your implementation roadmap. Phase 1. Plan your content providers. List every SAP system that contributes apps to your users' daily work. Phase 2. Establish trust. Configure your identity provider, business technology platform trust, and back-end trust relationships. Test single sign-on end-to-end before proceeding. Phase 3. Register content providers. Create destinations, register each provider, and validate that content appears for test users. Phase 4. Compose the experience. Build spaces and pages that blend content from multiple providers into role-based views. Validate with real users and expand from there.